Her head resembles a distorted face, streaked with bloody rivulets, and one eye, massive, black, and void-like, gazes straight into the soul, creating the unsettling feeling of being utterly exposed. The other half of the face is a coarse darkness, smeared with crimson stains like the aftermath of a horrific disaster. Her body consists of twisted forms oozing a crimson energy, thick and blood-like, slowly dripping downward. Her neck resembles a rusted metal mechanism, rattling and creaking with every movement, emphasizing its unnatural nature. She doesn't simply stand, but seems to hover in space, leaving behind a trail of sticky, oppressive darkness that appears eager to consume everything around it. From the shadows emerges a horrifying creature, its form more akin to a nightmare than anything real. Its exposed and fractured skull gapes with crimson wounds, raw and bleeding. The eye sockets are sealed with jagged plates, as if its face is shielded by a grotesque barrier pierced with sharp, knife-like spikes, eager to wound anything daring to approach. Its mouth is a ghastly abyss, dripping with ominous viscous fluid. Exposed ribs jut from its torso, like the broken bars of a cage that once imprisoned something even more terrifying. Its spherical face is shrouded in ominous darkness, tinged with an eerie violet glow. Black eyes, like deep abysses, stare out, empty and cold as death itself. A twisted smile, curved in mad ecstasy, gleams like a blade concealing 1,000 curses. Atop its head, 2 sharp horns jut menacingly, like antennas tuned to the fear of anyone who dares to gaze upon it. Its body is enveloped in a smoky violet mist, stretching into a ghastly tail that writhes like a shadow with a life of its own. It does not walk but hovers silently, its presence searing the air with an icy burn. Its silhouette writhes like liquid darkness, with numerous tendrils, sharp and jagged, stretching in all directions, streaked with crimson glimmers resembling bloodstains.
At the center of this chaotic mass are sinister eyes, round and unnervingly bright for such deep darkness, that pierce straight through you,
filling your chest with icy dread. To the side of the creature extends a strange appendage ending in a fiery orb. Every glance at this entity makes fear creep into your bones, and the air around it feels dense and suffocating. His enormous, hollow eyes stare into the void as if searching for a victim, while half of his head appears torn apart or trampled, with fragments emanating a grim energy. A crooked object, resembling a spike or bone, juts out of his head, adding a sinister touch. His skin resembles the texture of an old, abandoned doll, marked with stains that look like blood or rust. This silhouette evokes unease, as if it has emerged from a nightmare to haunt anyone daring to look at it. He seems to stand silently in the darkness, yet his presence is oppressive, as though he is watching every move, ready to leap at any moment. Who do you think is more awful? You can vote for your idol. If in your opinion Oren is scarier and more horrible, put a like. Subscribe to the channel if your idol is Durple. Vote while we're still alive. Hurry up, we don't have much time. From the shadows emerges a figure seemingly born of the darkest nightmare. Its skull, bare and pale, gapes with empty sockets from which thick, blood-like substance flows, resembling tears. Instead of hair, a chaotic, dirty green mass grows wildly, like decaying flesh, dripping crimson drops. In one hand, the creature clutches a human eye, holding it aloft like a gruesome trophy. Its body is elongated and grotesquely disproportionate, evoking a sense of something utterly alien and inhuman. This entity is the embodiment of terror, creeping into the deepest, darkest corners of the mind. Its eyes, or whatever replaces them, are concealed behind a broad black band, within which a single enormous, all-seeing eye peers out. Thin, sharp appendages dangle from its gaping maw, stained with dark, ominous traces. Protruding from its head are strange spikes or metallic rods, appearing as though they were driven forcibly into its skull. This creature defies classification, as if it were the result of someone's twisted experiments or the creation of a warped and deranged mind. Its eyes are unnervingly enormous and hypnotically disproportionate. One stares into the void with an almost agonizing intensity, while the other, shadowed by a crimson pattern, seems to radiate an invisible force that chills to the bone. There is no smile on the creature's face, only a thin, twisted line more akin to a silent scream. Its motionless body seems to conceal something sinister, as if it is more than just a shadow. Its face is veiled in deep shadow, with only one peculiar, rounded detail emerging, a gaping mouth, as if frozen in a silent scream. The figure appears motionless, yet its stillness carries an unsettling weight, as though it watches you even without eyes. Its simplicity is deceptive. Beneath this minimalist facade lies something unknown, cold, and alien. Its elongated head is pale, with hollow black eye sockets that seem to devour the light around them. Sharp, angular ears, like daggers, pierce the emptiness. Its mouth, twisted into a painful grimace, reveals a row of unnaturally even and razor-sharp teeth, as if it were a creature designed solely for destruction. The neck, long and thin, resembles exposed bone, appearing barely capable of supporting such an unnatural head. It remains motionless, yet an ominous power lurks beneath the stillness, as though it could lunge forward at any moment.
Before you see the following characters, take a vote. Which of these characters do you like best? Put your favorites emoji in the comments. I'm waiting. It's important.
In the darkness, something looms as if carved from a nightmarish vision. Its silhouette resembles a tree, but this is merely a facade. A dense red crown forms a menacing dome beneath which a being lurks, feeding on fears. A single white eye stares unblinking into your soul, like a beacon for the doomed. Its dead expression speaks louder than any scream. Below, 2 rows of thin, barely discernible teeth form a partially open maw, poised to devour anything that ventures too close. The screen tilts at an uncanny angle, as if the creature is watching you, even without eyes. At its base, a dark, monolithic structure is etched with incomprehensible symbols and dotted with blinking lights that resemble a chaotic, pulsating rhythm. These lights flicker like the nervous system of the entity, a chilling testament to its ominous activity. The inscription on the screen seems to pierce directly into your soul, saturating the surrounding space with a thick, oppressive sense of dread.
Something is wrong. They are not real.
Its face is a bottomless void, gaping with a monstrous maw. Within that darkness, sinister red eyes burn like smoldering embers, watching you intently. Between the eyes, strange segmented structures writhe, resembling tendrils or insects twisting in the depths of the void. Above the maw rise two slender appendages, akin to antennas, as if this entity does not merely observe but senses every movement around it. Its exposed jaws reveal grotesquely even, grayish teeth, poised to sink into flesh with terrifying precision. Its enormous eyes are wide, as if caught in a moment of terror, but there is nothing human in their gaze, only a haunting void. Its mouth is twisted into a grotesque, unnatural grin, revealing teeth that glint with a cold light, as if poised to devour everything around them. The head is disturbingly misshapen, as though struggling to contain something that should not exist. Its body, impossibly thin and disproportionate, appears not to belong to a living being, but to be crafted from grim shadows and fractured forms. Its very presence seems to defy the laws of nature, exuding an overwhelming sense of imminent threat. Its head is unnaturally shaped, with one enormous, lifeless eye that seems to gaze directly into the soul. The other eye appears consumed by shadow, resembling a gaping void. The creature's facial features are distorted, with rigid, angular lines that evoke the fragility of something hastily made, as if intentionally unfinished or broken. A green mark on its face resembles either a mask or the trace of something unnatural. Its body is wrapped in what looks like rigid strips, as if bound or encased in an alien shell. A small tail protruding from its back adds an additional layer of unsettling incongruity, as though it is a patchwork of different beings pieced together into a single disquieting form. Who do you think is more awful? You can vote for your idol. If in your opinion Pinki is scarier and more horrible, put a like. Subscribe to the channel if your idol is Wenda. Vote while we're still alive. Hurry up, we don't have much time. From the darkness emerges a strange creature whose body resembles a grotesque tangle of plant-like forms. Its face is a deathly mask with enormous, hollow eyes, devoid of emotion yet brimming with sinister madness. Instead of a mouth, crimson streams flow, as if the creature feeds on the blood of its victims. Its hair, dry and tangled, resembles withered leaves that rustle with every movement. A foul stench of decay wafts from its form, mingled with the damp scent of earth, as though it has clawed its way out of a long-forgotten graveyard. In the darkness, it emerges like a living machine, resembling a robot but warped with unsettling distortions. Instead of a face, it has a smooth screen, black as the abyss, absorbing light and concealing any hint of emotion. Yet from the darkness of the screen, a jagged grin occasionally appears, filled with sharp teeth, as if belonging to a creature from another realm. Two antenna-like appendages rise above its head like eerie horns, adding to its sinister presence. This being is not merely a machine. It is a living shadow of technology, designed not for aid, but to instill fear. Its gaze is icy and devoid of life. The eyes, enormous and glowing with a sinister red light, seem to follow you, even if you look away. A thin silhouette stretches upward, like a shadow drawn from the deepest nightmares, and its mouth, frozen in a soundless scream, appears to be a portal to infinite emptiness. Its bloodied features, resembling torn edges of reality, radiate an aura of despair. This monster doesn't attack. It merely watches, forcing your mind to tremble under the weight of inevitable terror. In the depths of darkness, it hovers, a living embodiment of a nightmare. A single eye, solitary, emotionless, and disturbingly infinite, dominates its form. It is surrounded by a viscous black mass, like a shadow poised to devour everything in its path. The pupil is distorted, as if something within defies the very laws of nature. Its presence feels alive, enveloping everything in a chilling aura, and escape seems impossible. No matter if you turn away or close your eyes, its gaze will always find you. From the darkness, a face emerges. It is empty, lifeless, like a mask, with hollow voids where eyes should be, voids that seem to pull your gaze, awakening a sense of unease and cold dread. Its pale, unnaturally smooth skin is stretched too tightly, devoid of pores or flaws, as though it isn't skin at all, but a shell crafted by someone who didn't fully understand what a human looks like. Its mouth, a silent abyss frozen in a barely perceptible smirk, exudes quiet menace. In its stillness lies a threat, as if the void itself has taken form and is now watching you.
Did you like the show? Put a like, subscribe to the channel not to miss the next